truly heartbroken, like genuinely so gutted, because I think they say, don't they, that it's the hope that kills you. And I honestly believed that there was a genuine opportunity for England to do it tonight. I'd convinced myself that it was going to happen. And I thought that we were going to end all of these years of hurt. I thought that we could have broken through this France team. There were moments during the game where I thought that we played really well and I thought that it was going to happen. And with Morocco waiting in the semi-final, you think, okay, there's a chance there. And I've been to 2 Argentina games over in Qatar, and I think that they're beatable as well. So the hurdle of France really did feel like the pivotal one, and I think that we could have done it. But sadly, another tournament comes to such a painful end for England. And I'm so proud of these players. I think they did so well. And yes, we're out. But this isn't the shambles of previous times we've fallen out of tournaments, or an example of players freezing or just massively getting it wrong that we've done in previous tournaments. You know, this isn't Iceland. This isn't what happened against Iceland in 2016 or against Uruguay in 2014. This isn't that. This is a largely, not totally, but largely positive performance from England against an elite nation. An incredible team this French team are. But the margins just went against us. You know, overall, say against Croatia in 18, I don't think there can have been any complaints there, really. They were the right team to progress. Against Italy, in the end, they were the worthy winners. But tonight it doesn't feel like that. There are genuine complaints that we can have tonight. You know, we can start with that moron in the middle, like an absolute pillock as a referee there. Like, what on earth is going on? But I'm going to try and not be too sneery or too snipey in this video and try and focus on the progress and the positives. Because for me, that's the best England have played against a top opponent in the Southgate era and potentially beyond that. I do think that there were mistakes made. I do think that on some level, if you think that our only real chances were created from penalties, that something needs to be a bit different. When you have the abundance of creative talent that is available to Southgate, maybe we should be creating more chances, particularly against the France team. And as brilliant as they are, the defence looked dodgy. I thought Upamecano was dreadful. Theo Hernandez, dreadful. So maybe we should be exploiting that back line more, particularly when you think of the players that we have at our disposal that are so brilliant and dazzling at attacking. Maybe a more experienced, proven winning manager would be able to exploit that weak link in the French defence. But this isn't the time for that. I'm so full of pride and admiration for those players. I think the England team conducted themselves so perfectly, and seeing them all heartbroken, like looking at Jude Bellingham crying at the end, it's just heartbreaking, like genuinely harrowing. And Harry Kane was obviously, you know, a shell of a man by the end. I saw Jordan Pickford sort of eschewing the cameras away, and he was completely correct. You know, Harry Kane doesn't need his worst moment on a football pitch to be in high definition for somebody else's pleasure, and Jordan Pickford was completely correct. But unfortunately for Harry Kane, the story of this game is the penalty miss. Skying a penalty that would not only have equalised the score in a quarter-final against France, that had it gone in, I believe we would have gone on to win the game. It wasn't only a penalty to do that, but it was a penalty that would have allowed him to break England's goal-scoring record. And he skied it. And do you know what I think happened? I think it's because, firstly, it's against his teammate. And therefore, I think you're second-guessing yourself, you're second-guessing each other. And secondly, because he'd already scored one and he wanted to go to the same place, he went the same side. I think he felt the urge to put more on it, to put more emphasis on the shot, to put more aggression into the shot. And he therefore skied it. And off the top of my head, I can barely remember Harry Kane missing an important penalty ever. And yet the most important one of his life is the one that he has skied. Just painful. I mean, Gareth Southgate has obviously done something very similar. So he will be able to nurture Harry Kane through this awful moment, I'm sure. But that is the story of the game. That is where it was won and lost. Because I honestly believe that if that had gone in, if he had equalised and scored there, England would have won the game. But as it stands, the reigning champions are going to play Morocco on Wednesday night. England are going to be heading home. Ah, dear. It's so sad. You could see Harry Kane at the end there when he was sort of battling against the tears, and I'm sure those tears will come at some point, probably sooner rather than later. For all of us, when I actually think about it, it's so grim, isn't it? So grim, so painful. Jude Bellingham just looking distraught. Did you notice, by the way? Do you know who I thought did really well around Bellingham? Like, obviously Bellingham, you don't think of him this way because he's so well versed at football and he's got such a look and he's got such a maturity. But he's basically a child. Do you know who it was really nice to see? It was Aaron Ramsdale. You know when people talk about certain players in the squad who don't necessarily need to be there, is what people say. Maybe Conor Cody is an example. Aaron Ramsdale is maybe another example. Looking at how significant his role was in sort of protecting and encouraging Jude Bellingham in Jude Bellingham's most vulnerable moment on a football pitch, I'm sure. It's very impressive stuff from Aaron Ramsdale. And it was really nice to see. But I think this team are special. I really do. I think this team are genuinely special. You know, they're going to feel like a study in utter desolation right now. They're going to feel isolated, alone, in pain, and completely obliterated. But firstly, England did themselves proud. I'm so proud of those players. They were mesmerising. They fought. They played with tenacity. They played with spirit. They played with aggression. They played with a bit of flair. And I'm so proud of them. And look, you know, you've got the French team cavorting in delight, as well they should, you know. They're on course to become what? The first country to retain the World Cup since Brazil in 1962. And it won't feel like much of a consolation to this England team, but it is important for us to all remember that we lost to a brilliant team. We lost to the team that are going to win the World Cup. I'm convinced by that. And look, people will be snide. I'm sure the comments of this video are going to be snide. And it's football, and I don't blame you. If anything, I encourage it. It's what football's about. Football is about rivalry and one-upmanship, so I haven't got an issue with it at all. The years of hurt do continue, but the but is beautiful. This England generation of Bellingham, Foden, Saka, Rice, Mount, and others will come back stronger. There will be more from this England team. We have the talent. And look, congratulations to France, but it's not over. We will be back, I'm sure. I feel like we've missed an opportunity. I feel like we genuinely have missed an opportunity here. Because as you know, mind-blowingly good as Morocco have been, to play Morocco in a semi-final, you know, you're not playing Brazil. It's a missed opportunity. And I think we could have just tested that French back line a bit more. The creative talent in our team. And their vulnerability at the back, man. We shouldn't be relying on penalties. But it is what it is. In a bit.